Three former Auburn Tigers kill it at the NFL Combine.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir, we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to kick this week off right. It was a great weekend for Auburn sports, and it continued even into some former athletes as three Auburn Tigers go to the NFL Combine and really show out. I think proved a lot for each one. Probably all three had a little bit of work to do to get to see their name called on Saturday, and all three of them excelled in different areas, and I think maybe made some money for themselves this weekend. So we're going to break down those, each one, and talk about what they did well, what they need to work on, and what their outlook is. But before we do that, we got to give a shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Go to UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com. Use coupon code THEBARN25 to take 25% off your order. Again, so much good feedback, so many good comments. This is some great stuff, man. If you love salsa and you live in the state of Alabama, you can go to any Publix in the state of Alabama. You can go to any Piggly Wiggly in the Birmingham area. It's all over the place. It's easy to find. And if you don't live in the state of Alabama, or you just don't live close to one of those stores, you can go to the website, UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com, and save big by using that coupon code. Auburn family, show them some love, show them some support. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce is good, y'all. Jarquez Hunter, Eugene Asante, KeAndre Lambert-Smith, all at the NFL Combine this past week. All of them did really, really well. I would say one of them did something that I wasn't expecting. Performed better than I was expecting for all three. They all three did something really, really well. We're going to talk about each one. I'm going to start with Jarquez Hunter. I want to read some of the stuff that they were the pre-scouting, like strengths and weaknesses. I think this is kind of cool to see what NFL scouts think about him, and then talk about his performance. Some of the strengths: known for his character and work ethic. I think if that's your number one on your strengths list, that's going to help you big time in the draft. That's going to help you big time when it comes down to picking, one or the other. If that's up there at the top, that's going to help him out big time. Embraces contact and can handle a heavy workload. We've seen that. Number one, like one of the tops is in yards after contact. Squat rack warrior with immense power in his lower half. If squatting was at the NFL Combine, Jarquez Hunter probably would have stole the show. But it's not an event there. He is known for just incredible power in his lower half, which is why he's able to break tackles and have those yards after contact. Quick downhill transition and one cut opportunities. We saw that if he could make one cut and get upfield, he could explode to the second level so incredibly fast. Contact power creates added yardage at impressive rates. I mean, that just goes back to the leg strength and being able to, even at a smaller back from a size standpoint, he was able to use that low center of gravity and those strong legs to just explode. Displays vision and field to find and flow with the run lanes. Provides kick return and cover experience on special teams. He did, obviously did both. Weaknesses: turns and cuts lack crispness due to tighter hips. Maybe he doesn't have the most elite agility, but I guess I can maybe see that. Below average burst to accelerate both inside and outside. I didn't see that, and I think his statistics prove that at the Combine. Lacks open field creativity to make tacklers miss. I could see that. He's more of a, hey, once I break free, I'm gone. I'm trying to go as far and as fast as I can. Looks rigid and unnatural as a catching option. I can see that 100%. Needs to work on positioning to square up on blitz pickups. I feel like most running backs need to work on that. His results. So when you talk about explosion, when you talk about, it said something that he I guess lacks that suddenness. Ran a 4.44, I believe. 40. Yeah, 4.44 That put him which is crazy. That's blazing. I would have not thought. I didn't think he was a sub 4.5 guy, but that would put him at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth fastest time in running backs. That's crazy. There's some freaky running backs in this class, or just some fast running backs in this class. His 10-yard split, he was 1.58. He's down there a little bit. So it takes him a little bit to get up to speed. But his bench, he was the number 2 in bench with 21 reps. I think that helped him, definitely helped him. There's been less than 20, just under 20 running backs taken in the last 2 drafts. Okay. So he went into the draft, I think, at like 26th running back on the board, which is obviously just outside the comfort zone. And I think he's, based off his production score, he's 15th. Based off his athleticism score, he's 15th. I think that's pretty good. That gets him in that should be able to get him. I know there's probably some running backs that aren't at the NFL Combine that are a part of that, a part of that mix, that are going to be a part of the mix there. But if you can be inside that top 20, you feel like you got a shot. And he's still got the pro day. I just think the more that scouts see this guy, the more opportunity he's going to have to jump out there and get drafted. He deserves it, man. He really, really does. I mean, if I'm an NFL GM, especially an NFL GM for a team that I'm trying to build, I know that this guy's going to be patient. I know this guy's going to give me the effort, and he's somebody that I can rely on. That to me is a super draftable quality, and really, really stands in Jarquez's favor. So great job from him. Number 2 in the bench, right around top 10 in the 40 for running backs. And you typically get some freaks there at running back. But starting to take notice. Glad people are starting to notice him, and he's got a chance to really impress. The guy that made the biggest improvement, I think, maybe the most money, and really, really turned some heads, was Eugene Asante. He exploded in most all the drills. He was the number 1. He got number 1 as far as the number 1 athleticism score of all the linebackers. I mean, there are some studs in this draft, and at the combine, he got the number 1 athletic score. Really, really good 40. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But some of the strengths and weaknesses, it said strengths was explosive athlete with impressive top end speed at the ready. Could not agree more with that. Good shock in his punch to work around climbing blocks. Above average short area agility and reactive quickness. Possesses a mega burst to recover from mistakes. Able to work around linemen and destroy backs as a blitzer. Could seen that a ton. Worker B on special teams with 749 career snaps per PFF. That's big. That's big for draftability right there. Having a lot of special teams experience and being willing to be a special teams guy. He could be hellacious on special teams. Weaknesses, average frame. He did come in much smaller than I expected, with small hands and short arms. He's reactive, but not very instinctive. That's an interesting weakness. And I think there may be some times where I agree with that, where he may be not quite diagnose things quite as fast, and he's more reactive than instinctive. Needs to improve block slip to avoid excessive take-ons, below average route awareness when dropping into coverage, has moments where he appears to be lost in coverage, inconsistent to close distance and body up as a tackler. So I don't necessarily disagree with any of those things. He obviously had some work to do, so he's got to go to the combine and show that, hey, I've got the tools, I've got the clay. I just need to be molded, a little bit more. And you saw as he was at Auburn, the more time that he got, the more snaps that he got, the better he got. I still remember that game at Cal whenever he sort of exploded onto the scene. I was like, man, we got something here. 4.4840, the fifth fastest time, I believe, of linebackers. The fastest time in the 10-yard split, which is that initial burst that they're talking about. And then on bench, he had 21 reps, which put him at fourth. So again, overall, if you look wire to wire, like all the different events, Eugene Asante exploded at the combine. He went off. Of every Auburn guy, he definitely improved himself the most. He's got a chance now to not only be drafted, but be maybe just sneak up into the top half of the draft. Again, he's going to have to find the right system. He's 6'1.5", 223 pounds. Not the most ideal size for a middle linebacker, but hey, he's shown the speed and burst. He could play on the outside a little bit if he needs to. Love this kid, man. Love this kid. Love his work ethic. Very, very happy that he had the success that he had. 4.46 as a 4.48. I'm sorry, 4.4840. Good gracious. He's going to hurt somebody. Very, very pumped for Eugene Asante. Before we talk about KeAndre Lambert-Smith, we got to give a quick shout out to Roback. Go to roback.com, use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off your order. Get ready for spring. They got all the stuff you could imagine. Perfect for spring. If you like prints, they got printed polos. If you like solids, you like stripes, they got a little bit of everything. It's still a little bit cool. You could get you one of those lightweight hoodies, performance hoodies they have. Doesn't sweat you down, but gives you, keeps those arms a little bit warmer. at the beginning of the day. It's cooler in the mornings, and then it kind of warms up pretty quick. Roback's got a little bit of everything for everybody. So definitely check them out. Show them some love. Use coupon code BUTTON20 for 20% off. It's roback.com. The guy we're all pulling for, the leader of the offense, the guy that, had a bad rep when he came to Auburn. Penn State folks trashed him. Just came here, put his head down, came to work with the young guys, was willing to help, was willing to teach. He didn't come in as, me. I got to take care of me. Me's number one. No. KeAndre Lambert-Smith, man. Definitely hoping he could have a big performance. I think with wide receivers, 40 is so important. Especially when it comes to the NFL draft. You got to be able to be quick, because everybody else is. Everybody else is blazing fast, and he had the production. But you want to see the little knick-knack traits that the NFL scrutinizes so very much, and he did that. He ran a sub 4.4, 4.37 40. Just really, really good speed. And I said that one thing about him that I did not expect when he first got here was that top end speed. He was so much faster than I ever anticipated. I expected a possession receiver. I expected a route technician, a guy that could shake you, but not going to do much after the catch. But we saw him make big play after big play after big play. Saw him take, 160 or 70 yards to the house on a slant against Arkansas. Then you've seen him make the Moss, the Randy Moss catches. You saw him, go up and do the 50-50 balls. He kind of did it all. His catch radius was incredible. So some of his strengths and weaknesses. Strengths works back to the throw or scrambles to throwing space. on play extension. Okay. Rescues low throws and finishes through contact. He got I don't want to just completely bang on the quarterback, but there was a lot of rescuing throws, and he definitely did that. Underthrow, overthrow, low throw, wide right, wide left, whatever. He can make it. Locates and makes winning adjustments on underthrows. So two of his strengths. Oh man, two of his strengths are being able to bail the quarterback out, basically. Attacks high point with sudden springy hops. I like that. Adequate one move runner after the catch. And he doesn't have to have more moves because of his speed. If he can do a head fake and get any kind of angle, he can outrun you. And he proved that this weekend. Weaknesses, see, I don't know what this below average long speed. Like, what does that mean? I mean, he's one of the fastest wide receivers in the combine. Defenders sit in his pocket on shorter routes. I mean, that seems like the defenders are going to be tighter on shorter routes anyway, but I don't know. I don't really remember that. Telegraphs hitches and comebacks, allowing defenders to dart in. Again, he had almost 1,000 yards receiving. I don't necessarily remember that. Last suddenness or burst to separate out of turns. Again, feel like that he kind of proved that he can overcome that with his 40 time. Lacks special team value to return a cover. That's a theme that we heard from, Eugene Asante. That he doesn't have, KeAndre Lambert-Smith has very little special teams, very little special teams experience. So that's a huge value in the NFL for wide receivers, because those are sometimes some of your bigger, taller, rangier athletes, and they got to make it happen on punt team. I'm looking at some of the scores. I know the 40 was great. The vertical was not. The vertical was very below average. He was at the bottom of the combine for wide receivers in the vertical. He didn't do the bench press, 3-cone, the shuttle, which they don't necessarily do that. I don't think he dropped a pass the whole time he was there, which is good. The 40 is great, but there's just so many good receivers, man. And he's older too. I just wonder if I'm afraid he might have a tough time. He was in the top 16 in athleticism score in the combine. I know that they take a bunch of wide receivers in the draft. Such a wide receiver is shifted from running backs to wide receivers. So I know those are important. But even after the combine, he's still, just of the wide receivers at the combine, ranked the 24th. So he may sneak into the back half of the draft based off of his combine, but I think he was going from undrafted to maybe he can get some looks now because of his speed that he showed on the 40. Yeah, I mean, his grade before coming in was, essentially a candidate for bottom of the roster or practice squad. So that's where his score was prior, and I think he's kind of moved up a little bit based off of some of the athleticism drills and based off of obviously his 40 time. He deserves it, man. He's another one that deserves it big time. Hanging in there with us, coming to Auburn after a poor season and showing no production at the wide receiver, believing in Hugh Freeze, believing in the offense, and he had his best statistical year. So very obviously pulling for him, maybe more so than anyone, just because of the gamble that he took on Auburn, leaving Penn State that played in, the playoffs this year. So he deserves it. Hope he does well. We'll see how things go leading up to the draft, and I guess May. Still going to have a pro day, so he's got another chance to wow some folks. So we'll keep you updated on all of the Auburn news, whether it's a current athlete or a former athlete. Thanks, guys, for listening. Look, if you need a real estate agent, hit me up. You can hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram. Email me at krush@thekeyagency.realestate if you're local to the area. if you're moving to the area, if you're looking to invest in the area, I'm your guy. Give me a shout. Give me a chance. I'd love to help you and your family find that dream home or help you sell one if you need to. So I'm licensed in the state of Alabama, so it doesn't have to be just Auburn, but I'm your guy in Auburn. So give me a shout. Thanks for listening, guys. If you like the video, like it. If you like the channel, subscribe to it. Follow me on Twitter, _Charlie_5. And we'll be back again tomorrow and every single day this week. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.